Something that made Half-Life 1 unique among its peers was the existence of allies. Most similar games of that era cast all other characters as enemies of the player, and Half-Life 1 was to be the same way. However, after some experimentation with the concept of friendly NPCs, playtesters found them helpful and endearing, and it was then decided that they should become a major component of the game. The team then wondered about creating a third NPC relationship, a group or character whose motives seemed indifferent to the player. This was the birth of the mysterious character who's known only as the G-Man. He watches the player from afar with an expressionless face, stalking players through their journeys and possibly influencing future events. He is exceptionally calm and collected when considering the events of the games he appears in. There is still much mystery surrounding him, with the only known information having been extracted from game files or decoded from riddle-like dialogue. His employers, his interest in Gordon, and his ability to stay one step ahead of the player are still unexplained.
Originally, the canals were designed in such a way that the player was speeding past enemies which were above them. However, many players would instead choose to engage these enemies, not wanting to miss any aspect of the game. In order to maintain proper pacing, the game's canals were redesigned so that each segment was focused on either driving or fighting exclusively.
Valve, unwilling to break the first-person perspective, had to fine-tune how closely the player's view was attached to the airboat to maintain a sense of realism without causing nausea. Too close and every bump jolted the screen, too far and the player wouldn't feel attached to the craft. By carefully adjusting how the player's view bobbed and tilted relative to the surrounding airboat, they were able to solve this problem while keeping the player's view within the vehicle.
Half-Life 2's Combine Hunter Chopper serves the same purpose as the HECU's AH-64 Apache from Half-Life 1. Its constant stalking of the player, along with its barrage of bullets, keeps the player dashing from cover point to cover point until provided with a weapon to take it out of the sky, satisfyingly destroying the menace that has plagued him or her for so long.
Source's physics system was, in many ways, at the core of Half-Life 2. It was one of the first times a dynamic physics simulation was used in a video game on such a large scale. It was important not only that objects would topple correctly when knocked into, or fall properly when dropped, but that each object made the appropriate sounds when hit with a crowbar or dragged along a wall. It was important that each object had an appropriate amount of weight, and would do the proper amount of damage when whipped against the player or another NPC. The goal was to make the physics system seem so natural and complete that it wasn't something that the players would even notice. It would just be part of the game's world.
We remember the Freeman. We are coterminous. There is no distance between us. No false veils of time or space may intervene. We see you still in Black Mesa. Clearly we see you in the Nihilant's chamber. We bear witness to the bright eternity of the Nihilant's demise. You leap, you fall, we see you flash between the barriers. For a brief time you joined us, you are one between the worlds. Communion of the vortescence, and that other, a deeper mystery, no deeper than the void itself. We cannot forget those whose cords you cut. Forgiveness is not ours to bestow. Unity of purpose, the shattering of common shackles, a single road we tread. Your song we sing and shall sing for eternity, no matter the consequences of this struggle. You have brought us grief and jubilation beyond measure. We are there still in observance of your final stroke. While our own lay scattered at your feet, you severed the vortal cord that bound the Nihilants to life and to us. That sharp spur of hope has not dulled to this day. For once the lesser master lay defeated, we knew the greater must also fall in time. With you besides us, a talisman of victory, the day of freedom draws nigh. Your bright face obscures your darker mask. We call you Sib, although your mind and meaning are a mystery to us. Far distant eyes look out through your... Something secret steers us both. We shall not name it. We have endured these chafing bonds for eons, yet a single moment of further servitude seems intolerable. How often have we slipped our yoke only to find it choking us again? Let this war end in either total victory or our extinction. No further compromise shall we allow. We take our stand beside you here upon this miserable rock. The way ahead is dark for the moon man. What seems to you a sacrifice is merely to us an oscillation. We do not fear the interval of darkness. We are a tapestry woven of vortessence. It is the same for you if only you would see it. How many are there in you? Whose hopes and dreams do you encompass? Could you but see the eyes inside your own, the minds in your mind, you would see how much we share. We are you, free men, and you are us. Our cause seems hopeless. We have lost all dear to us. Where to now? And to what end? We shall prevail. Our life is worthless unless spent on freedom. We have survived worse across the ages. This is more than anyone can bear, but we will persevere. Our finest poet describes it thus. Kalambakalilama. Where to now? And to what end? Our finest poet describes it thus. Kalambakalilama. Our life is worthless unless spent on freedom.
This lone Vortigaunt, most widely known as the all-knowing Vortigaunt, is a prime example of Valve's affinity for Easter eggs, rewarding player exploration and optional exposition. Much like the G-Man, his messages are cryptic and up for interpretation. He strongly ties much of Half-Life 1's events to Half-Life 2, and is one of the few characters to make reference to the G-Man or the Nihilin, along with references that possibly discuss the existence of the player controlling Gordon. He is also referred to as the Sore Throat Vortigaunt or the Singing Vortigaunt.
When creating a computer program, encountering numerous bugs and glitches is unavoidable, and Half-Life 2 is no exception. However, something that makes games unique among software is that an unintentional mistake can lead to exciting new opportunities. Valve employee Brian Jacobson was programming the Hunter Chopper's bull-rushing behavior for this final fight. The chopper was supposed to rush towards the player from a distance, spraying bullets towards the ground as it went. However, instead of telling it to fire bullets, he accidentally instructed it to drop bombs, resulting in his frame rate crawling as bombs poured out of the craft. The concept was so cool, however, that it was retooled to work correctly within the game, and became a new behavior for the Hunter Chopper.